Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. It is September 15th, and this is our weekly video for the week. My name is Greg Giglio, and I'm the principal at Homestead High School. Again, lots of great questions and comments in here. So thank you, everybody who sent in and used our survey. So let's get going and try and get through all the information out there, shall we? So lots of nice words about our back to school night. We really are excited to be able to host that in person again for the first time in 4 years. And so got a lot of great comments from everybody. And again, thank you for everybody who say they watch these videos. And I even had someone told me that they like to save 3 or 4 of them up together and then binge watch me. So I thought that was kind of the first time that's ever been said to me. So thank you for that. But here were a couple of shout outs for a back to school night. Again, just loved having it in person. Thank you to all the teachers. They really liked seeing everybody and staff who did all that great work. They really appreciated being able to see what campus was like. Another person, and this was a fun yet sad piece of information, but a senior parent who had their first in-person back to school night because we haven't had it in so long. So I appreciate that. And then these 6 teachers were given a special shout out by that person. Mrs. Morozak, Mr. McMahon, Miss Ronan, Mr. Portikos, Mr. Wright, and Miss Carlson. And they were happy about the way the campus and the classroom looked. So thank you for those positive things. We're moving on to our questions and concerns. First one was about the new color scheme on the school. So if you probably noticed that the school has 2 different colors now. So why is the school being painted dark gray? What a downer for the kids. Read any psychological study on the effects of color. Black and dark gray never have positive effects, although black and gray can have slimming effects on a person. But no, I totally understand what you're saying here. So yeah, we have 2 new colors. If just in case you're wondering, they're called zinc dust, that's the green one, and titanium, that's the accent color. Although there are some walls that have a lot of the accent on it, so in some places there's a lot of dark. And so again, the titanium, though, yes, it looks gray, and I would admit, yeah, to the average eye, it's going to say gray, but it actually is a blue-based color. And so these colors were chosen by a colorist. And so they had gone through a bunch of different colors, but the goal of these colors was to try to soften the looks of the buildings. Our buildings have always looked very harsh. That's that joke that it looks like our schools were built by the same guy who does prisons. And that has to do with the cinder block, the buildings, and they aren't the friendliest to the eye. And so these colors were sort of chosen to soften those looks and also help the building sort of blend into the background and so you can start to see more of the foliage and that kind of stuff. And again, if you look at we still have a couple of buildings that have the last paint scheme on it. You can kind of see what we're doing when you kind of compare the two. And so the idea is not to do all gray. Yes, that would be depressing, but most of the color you'll see is the green on the outside anyway. On the inside, the classrooms are much lighter and brighter, and with all the different lights and stuff that come in and windows. So yep, I get that maybe you don't like that gray part, but that's our color scheme and that's what we're going with. So it would be very expensive to then go back and repaint everything. So we're sticking with where we are for right now. So hopefully it grows on you, though. Ask here about whether parents can use the staff parking lot now the construction is done. We're asking you to hold off. Not everyone listens to us, but we would ask that you do hold off. There are reasons for not doing it. Mainly the big reason is that we still have some construction trucks that are coming in, finishing some things off. We need to bring in materials. So again, I'm asking you to hold off. When we are ready to have you come in, we will let you know. People say one of the reasons why they're asking us to do this is they think it will eliminate some of the backup in other areas. And to be honest, it doesn't. It still remains backed up out there because everybody comes at the last minute. That's the issue. It's not that we don't have enough drop-off spots. It's that people come right at the last minute. But again, right now we still would ask that you stay out of the staff lot, and we will let you know when it's ready. This one was a rather longer one. I think I tried to cut it down a bit. It's a pretty complicated one, so I'm going to share and do my best here to explain it. But it said, I heard that students will be prepared to take the AP Lit exam by taking either the Honors Lit or American Studies Lit Honors courses at Homestead. If so, why aren't these Lit courses just called American Lit instead of Honors only? Well, first of all, our honors courses and all of our courses can help a student get prepared to take AP language or AP Lit courses or tests and courses, because they're built and they're meant to sort of be foundational and then build upon that. There's no guarantee that they will pass those courses or that they mimic exactly what those courses are. So you need to know that for a course to be labeled something, it has to go through an approval process and it has to hit certain criteria. The College Board is the one who sets the criteria for all our AP courses. And so for us to say this is an AP Lit or an AP Chemistry or whatever class, it has to have certain elements that we follow. And so if it's not following those criteria, we can't call it that. Otherwise, it would be a little bit dishonest. Again, it'd be like saying, oh, I took an AP course, but really you took a college prep course. So we have to be very careful with that. Excuse me. One of the things too that I think there's a little bit of confusion in here too. Really, we don't offer the AP language course and test because that's at the junior level. The AP language, the issue with the AP language test and course is that it's really a language course. It's about grammar and rhetoric of the sentence and how to write better sentences. It's not a literature-based course. That is what our senior AP Lit is about. It's all about literature. So one of the problems with having a junior year AP language course is you don't get American Lit. And so you actually miss out on that aspect of the education that all the other students get. So again, you know, the AP, the American Lit courses are not AP Lit. They're not the same thing, so we can't call it that. But again, there'll be elements that you'll see and find in there, and you'll grow off of that. But we can't just call something, you know, another thing because it doesn't follow the criteria. The UCs would be mad at us. So if you want to get that AP Lit credit, you have to take the course. If you want to take the AP language test, you can, but we don't offer that class here. So again, that's just a little, hopefully that makes sense and you understand it. I know that's a bit controversial and sometimes people want us to offer more AP courses, but that one has just been not one that fits well into our curriculum. There was, even though there are lots of shout outs, there was a concern brought up about a particular back to school night presentation. And this is a good chance for me to remind folks that I don't use the weekly video message to kind of air grievances against specific people on our campus. I would never call a person out in that regard. So I don't put their names out there, but I do want to let the person know that, hey, I did get this concern. And the particular concern was about a presentation that was more about the individual and not enough or anything about the actual course. So that is something I've passed on to them, and I will let them know that I brought that forward to them and talking about it. If you do have a specific concern about a teacher, please, you know, email me or give me a chance to work it out, or maybe you even go to that particular staff member and say, hey, I was really concerned about this, you know, let's talk about it. You know, we would prefer that we sort of deal with issues straightforward. But again, I can also take those issues to them. But yeah, so I heard this one, I got it. But if you do have an individual grievance or particular complaint about a staff member, please let me know or let them know. Again, we are all adults and we prefer to solve these as best we can. So thank you for sending that in. I realized that looking at this is not the greatest headline for a slide, but this is there was a question about, can we start to educate kids about the dangers of fentanyl and perhaps give them some training on how to prevent or how to save a person when they do have an overdose from fentanyl. Luckily, this is not something we have seen or had to deal with here on our campus. However, we do have gone through training. All of our administrators and some of our staff members, like our student liaison or, you know, our health clerks, that kind of thing, have gone through how to administer Narcan, which is the drug that can counter an overdose on fentanyl. It doesn't hurt you in any other way. So if you don't take fentanyl, but you're having an emergency and we give you Narcan, it won't hurt you. But it is something that we have here in our office. We have been trained on it. It is in an unlocked area where you can reach in and grab it and do it. It's pretty simple to administer, but we have been trained on it. There have been people asking us about, can we do some training for kids about, again, the dangers of fentanyl and how to maybe overcome that or to use Narcan. We are looking into that and seeing if we can do it, but there's some questions about liability and what's a good program and can we fit it into our actual day. So we're kind of still looking for some of those things. One of the other questions that this parent asked was, you know, could a student carry Narcan here on campus and in case there's an emergency? Narcan is just like any other medication. If you have a medical note that says you need to carry it, and you file the appropriate paperwork, we can do that. But we don't tend to allow students to carry medication unless like asthma, that kind of thing. Ultimately, too, I'd be a little bit concerned about asking a student to step in when there's an emergency. That's not really their job. That is our job. And so that's why we've been trained to do it and we're willing to do it. It is a pretty stressful situation. So putting a kid in that situation where a life is on the line. I'm not sure I really want to put a kid in that situation, but I do understand your concerns and why you would want your kid to possibly carry Narcan, especially if they're out at a party or somewhere where there aren't adults, and they would, minutes can save a person's life. So again, here on campus, I feel pretty confident in our abilities to address emergencies. We deal with them all the time. And but again, I'm not sure a student needs to carry Narcan, but that sounds like a choice you'd want to do. But if you do that, please make sure you're following the proper procedures and getting the medical note and filing the paperwork. We had an advisory, I think I talked about this a little bit ago, on the Say Something anonymous tip reporting system. And in according to this person, and this is true, it wasn't able to be shown in classrooms due to a malfunction. When will students see it? It is very important. We agree it's very important. So we're looking for some alternate ways. But Say Something is an anonymous tip reporting system where kids can send in a tip that says, hey, I'm concerned about this student's behavior, or this kid is making statements about hurting themselves or hurting others. And there is a whole process in which the message gets looked at by crisis individuals, and then gets sent to the school or to law enforcement. It is a very important thing. It's something we've been asking for, and then parents have been asking for. Unfortunately, the rollout did get messed up on their end because of a technical issue. All of our schools were trying to access the video, and the system crashed. And so some kids were able to watch it, not everybody was. So we ended up kind of moving to what we're now calling a soft opening, where we do have a percentage of kids that have seen it, not everybody. But we have started to put information out about it. We've put out emails, we've put out posters, we're doing different things. So people are starting to become aware of it. We have here at Homestead received a tip already. It was not a life-threatening or safety emergency kind of thing, but it was one where a student was concerned about another student's behaviors. And so we were able to address that and deal with it. But so it is, we know it's working. We know kids have seen it. But again, we do want to make sure that every kid at some point gets trained in this. And so one of the strategies we're going to be doing is starting to show the video at different tutorials, and sort of like go into the auditorium if you're interested and see it. Well, we'll start to get more kids trained, and then we'll look for other places where we might be able to do it to whole classes, because it wouldn't hurt you to see it twice, kind of thing. So again, we know it wasn't the greatest rollout. We're sorry. That was, again, nothing that we could control. It was on their end. And so we're doing our best we can to get everyone trained and get it out there, but we're hoping that it starts to become an important tool that we can all use. So looking forward to getting that up and running as best we can. This was a suggestion, and again, it's a rather long one, so I'll go ahead and let you read it all to yourself here. But basically, it was regarding the job shadowing, and that having it on a Monday maybe wasn't the best choice because work from home kind of situations, Monday tend to be a little bit less robust at offices than other places. And so maybe can you look at some different days, that kind of thing. Just to kind of let you know, not trying to push the credit off here, but this is a PTSA event. It's not ours, but we do support it. And we do want it to kids to go and encourage kids to go through it. I did pass this message along to the organizers of the event so that they're aware. If you would like to contact them, please look, for those PTSA emails, and you can send them information. They were very appreciative of getting the comment, and they're going to look at possible solutions for next year. They have chosen traditionally this Monday in October, where we don't have any school, because they want kids to be able to go off and do something without missing any instruction. So we appreciate them being thoughtful in that way, but we also get that things have changed in the last 4 years. And so maybe there might be a different way or better day to look at it. So they're going to take a look at that. So, but this also gives me another chance to kind of pump the job shadow thing, which I'm happy to do. So here's the flyer that's out there. It's, like I said, it's Monday, October 9th. If you want more information, go to our website, click on the parent portal at the top, then look for the PTSA button on the right side, and it'll take you to this page that you see right here. Go under programs and events, job shadow day, and there's all the information you have there. And again, that's the email right there if you want to contact them and talk a little bit more about your suggestions for how to overcome that Monday possible issue. So that's there. Great program. Hope you get a chance to send your kids to that. Looking on for our subjects under general information, here's our traffic reminders. Still seeing way too many kids getting dropped off on Homestead. And again, we understand why you're doing it. It's, traffic it's getting packed. You're not able to get into the horseshoe. You're hoping that, you can drop your kid off and not have to worry about getting stuck in some sort of traffic. But it's extremely illegal. You can get tickets. Your kid can get a ticket. Not something we want to start your morning with. That would probably be much more stressful than going through and being stuck in traffic. And quite frankly, it's just unsafe. I mean, having kids go, walk between cars, that's when they get hit or accidents happen. So we really don't want that to see. We also see things where, doors are getting flung open and the doors are almost getting hit, or the doors are almost hitting bikers. So we really need to be careful with that. And ultimately, when kids are walking through traffic and cars are stopping in different places, it can also cause a traffic delay. So please do not drop your kid off on Homestead. Really, if you're looking to avoid the rush, come earlier, which I know is not always easy trying to get a teenager out of bed, but come earlier or find an alternate spot off campus away, maybe 3-4 blocks away, so your student has to walk the last few blocks. But if you do that, though, please make sure you aren't blocking a person's access to their driveway. Please make sure you're not cutting off bikers, or that you're blocking traffic to let your kid out there, because that's also not safe and it's still illegal. So again, pull over to a curb, make sure there's no bikers, and let them off on a sidewalk. But not on Homestead Road. That's still unsafe. You cannot drop kids off there. Moving on to our important dates, there's really nothing new here. There's still sort of the similar things. I do want to point out a mistake I made last week. I said the end of first grading was October 29th. It's really September 29th, a couple weeks away. So again, still a few weeks away for you to look at and have a conversation with your kid and see where they are and check in on how their attendance is doing and check in on how they're doing with their homework or how they're doing with grades. It's not a permanent grade. So even though you'll get a little snapshot that says, hey, your student has an A, B, C, whatever, that is just, it's a progress grade. It's meant to say this is where they are now. They can go up, they can go down, but it's meant to help maybe have some conversations about making sure kids are doing their work or coming to school. It's a good chance for you just to check in and ask about it at that point. So again, thank you to everyone. We had lots of, like I said, lots of great survey responses. So thank you for doing that. Just as a fun note, it is Friday and I'm welcoming back some members of the class in 1973 for a 50th year reunion. They're going to take a little tour of the campus. I'm sure they're going to see a lot of changes and be a little shocked at how the campus looks now. But looking forward to welcoming them on, and I want to wish you all a happy weekend, and hope you have a great restful time. Take care.